Hi, good afternoon, and welcome to our officials who are presenting in front of us today from the Department of Education. I suppose if I could just say firstly that our committee is here to I suppose, help support and try and drive protection for children and students here. That's our ultimate goal. Over the last number of weeks, what we've been hearing has been extremely shocking, and I'm sure that you've heard an awful lot from a lot of the committee stages that we've been through, the interviews, the witnesses that have come before us. It's extremely disheartening to think that it's 1 in 3, and this is globally. So bullying happens, it happens a lot, but it's about how we tackle it. And our committee is about tackling bullying. I suppose some of the questions I have here for the Department of Education have come up through a number of witnesses that have spoken with us over the last few weeks. And if I might pose, and you may decide, so I don't know which of our members might be most relevant to respond, but I would like you to respond in the spirit of how we are going to improve the situation currently. If I could ask you to respond in that spirit, I would very much appreciate it. So some of the questions I have are that when we had the Ombudsman for Children here, there was a question about the Youth Mental Health Pathfinder project. Now, I understand that this may be linked with the HSE and Department of Health as well, but if someone could respond on that. Around bullying, and I know a number of our other committee members here have mentioned it, but again, about the measurement of this. It came up before about it being audited. How are we auditing the action plan on bullying? And this was from the Anti-Bullying Centre, the ABC Centre in DCU, and particularly from our UNESCO chair, which is quite an impressive position to have here in Ireland and in DCU, the UNESCO chair on tackling bullying. I would like to ask as well, because it came up last time, was, we have these programs, and I know you've mentioned a number of programs you're rolling out for teachers and teacher training, but it was noted that the FUSE program was a particularly impactful program. We also heard about the Roots of Empathy program, about early intervention in primary schools and how the levels of bullying in primary schools are quite high. But can I ask you, how are we going to support the likes of the University DCU in rolling out a program like FUSE to so many thousands of students? It's incredible that they're doing the best they can. There's no way they're going to reach students. So we could be waiting for another 25 years on how many students have gone through the system every 5 years. So a little bit, if you could speak to me on that, what's the Department of Education's engagement with DCU on the FUSE programme, and how are you supporting the rollout of this programme? And then just the Roots of Empathy and early intervention. And sorry, I might leave it at that. I might come in again if I have a little bit of time at the end. And again, just one other point, sorry, was just on school inspector reports. When you go onto education.ie and you look up a school and you download the report, I know it speaks about subject matter, and I know you mentioned child safeguarding. We talk an awful lot, and we've talked about the environment of a school and how a positive school environment around bullying is so important, and how some schools may not be as focused on this as others, and that's a huge challenge. Should, on the inspector reports, should it not speak directly about bullying and tackling bullying? And if it's not there, why isn't it there, considering we know it happens all the time and it's more about the mitigation factors? It's just, I went through a couple of reports, but they were from 2019, so maybe this has changed since then, but there was nothing about tackling bullying. Maybe it was referenced under another term. So thank you for your help on this.
Thank you. If I could just pick up very briefly, the Senator, on the issue of documenting the findings in relation to bullying. As part of the Inspectorate's plans to strengthen its reporting on and evaluation of anti-bullying measures in schools, it is planned that following the incidental inspections, which are due to roll out from September 2022, each school will be provided with a written note on the findings of the inspection in relation to each of the areas of focus, and the note then can be used by schools to inform their anti-bullying measures and to take any necessary actions to strengthen those. And then, as I mentioned earlier, those findings will also be used to feed into a composite report which will be published. The Inspectorate is aware as well of the need to ensure consistency in reporting on anti-bullying matters, and from January 2022, the extent to which all schools are implementing the anti-bullying procedures in relation to the 5 areas of focus will be reported on, not only in all whole school evaluation reports, but in all other inspection type models as well. Thank you.
Chairperson, I might come in there as well on the FUSE programme. Just to say that the department has been supporting the FUSE programme now for 3 years, and it's a very successful programme, as the Senator has pointed out. The aim of it is capacity building within the schools, so we very much support that approach, and we will continue to be supporting the DCU Anti-Bullying Centre in the future. We have some information about the efficacy of FUSE so far, in that students' attitudes to tackle bullying after taking part in FUSE are very positive. Students' attitudes to online safety are also very positive after the FUSE programme engagement. And when the students have been asked about the FUSE programme, they have a very positive outlook on it.
Aisling, you're on mute.
Apologies, I had a great question there.
I'd like to start over again.
What I wanted to ask Anne was if it was possible, it's more around how are we going to roll this out? How are we going to roll this out regionally? How's that going to be possible? You know, they spoke about the numbers, but we've got, over, so many thousands of students at both primary and secondary level. How are we going to do this in a regional way that we're going to have impact in the next 2 to 3 years? That's my question.
Thank you, Senator, for that. Yeah, I think the department will continue to engage with DCU Anti-Bullying Centre on the FUSE programme just to see how we can address those issues that you've raised there in the future, and to make sure that there's appropriate regional representation of the programme across the country. Thank you.
So the department will be looking at a regional rollout of the FUSE programme. So that means providing more
the department will engage further with DCU to explore that.
Okay, I appreciate that. I would think it's crucial, because what I would like to see perhaps from the department is a target. If I said to you there's a target for the rollout of FUSE, be it at certain levels or certain years, at a primary at a secondary school level, what would that target be? Where can we see that we'll be able to reach all schools, and considering it's continuous as well? I suppose that's a question I would like perhaps that you may be able to come back to me on. Thank you. And sorry, if I might just ask about the Youth Pathfinder project as well, and the inspector report. Sorry, Yvonne, you may have answered that already. Apologies, but just the Youth Pathfinder.
I can come in on the Youth Pathfinder. Just as you know, the Pathfinder project was a collaborative project across several departments to try to align and streamline youth mental health supports. And there was a proposal as a result of the work that across government youth mental health Pathfinder unit would be established, with the participation of the Department of Health, the Department of Education and the Department of Children. At the moment, and we have received an update from the Department of Health on this, the Department of Health is engaging extensively with the Department of Public Expenditure and Reform, and it continues to do so with the objective of agreeing the implementation, an implementation option for the Pathfinder project. But we understand, and we've been told that the demands on both departments as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic have presented challenges and probably have delayed progress in this area.
Okay. I suppose, thank you very much. And Chair, I don't know if I have another minute, or is it all gone?
Well, I'll tell you now, because we are waiting on other members to come in, Senator Dolan, if you want to continue, and I will go back to the other members that I kind of curtailed their timings if they want to come back in as well. There's a number of them there. Senator O'Loughlin, Donncha O'Leary, Aon O'Riordan. So, Senator, you have another minute or two, and then I'll call back the other members.
Thank you. Thank you very much. If I might ask Yvonne then, and apologies, I know you answered just in relation to the audit, from what I understand. Would you believe that there should be a section, and please correct me now if I'm not correct here, but in the inspector reports that there should be a section on bullying that's available? I know it's up on the website education.ie. When you look at a school, you get all the details. In that inspector's report that's uploaded, should that not include a section on how that school tackles bullying? And I know that they talk about child safeguarding, but to my mind, that's a separate, that's a little bit different. It's the welfare. Or can you respond to that?
Yes, well, I'll respond to it, Senator, by saying that we are aware of the need to develop and strengthen both our oversight and indeed our reporting processes when it comes to anti-bullying. And just to note that where there are deficiencies in relation to how a school deals with anti-bullying issues that cross the threshold into child protection issues, and if it's, say, for example, there are failures in relation to record keeping or reporting mechanisms in relation to those, they are always reported very clearly in the department inspectorate's inspection reports, the child protection and safeguarding inspection reports, which comprise 2 reports, an initial and a final report. And in each cases where there are deficiencies in relation to how a school is dealing with anti-bullying cases, they would be very clearly reported in those child protection and safeguarding inspection reports.
So there will be a reference in bullying under that safeguarding section. There will be a section that will refer specifically to the word bullying, tackling bullying.
Where there are deficiencies in how a school is dealing with child protection cases involving bullying, yes, they are reported upon in those 2 reports.
But Yvonne, if I may, bullying happens all the time. This is what we've come to learn. It's in every single school. It's in every single school. It's in every single secondary school. My God, it's in a lot of walks of life. Should it not be the fact that there is a section in there that has to be completed for each school? And if there haven't been issues that they've been dealing with, then the question has to be, why not haven't they been dealing with this? Should that not be the question?
Actually, as I alluded to there, in relation to the development of our reporting on anti-bullying in schools, it will become part of all evaluation models from 2022. And in that context, those inspection reports will allude to how schools are implementing each of the 5 areas that I referred to earlier, the extent to which schools have anti-bullying policies in place, the termly reporting by principals to the Board of Management, annual reviews by the Board of Management of anti-bullying policies, how schools are communicating their anti-bullying policies, and how they are recording incidents of anti-bullying behaviour in accordance with the 2013 procedures. So each of those items will be reported on in all school inspection types that lead to a published report from January 2022.
Thank you. Apologies, Yvonne. So I just take it then that from January 2022, those school inspectorate reports will have a section according to the headings you've mentioned, and it will include tackling bullying. So bullying will be a term that's included in that report.
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, Chair.
Okay.